Laura Ingalls Wilder by Alexandra Wallner. Laura Elizabeth Ingalls was born on February 7, 1867, Wisconsin, to Caroline and Charles Ingalls. Her sister Mary was 2 years older. The family lived in a log cabin in the big woods. In the evenings, they sat by the cozy fire. Ma read to them. Pa sang and played jolly tunes on his fiddle to make everyone laugh. Often Pa spoke about owning land where plowing would be easier. He dreamed of farming on a prairie. In 1868, Pa sold the farm. The Ingalls packed their belongings in a covered wagon and headed west. They traveled for many months. During the long journey, Laura listened to Pa tell stories by the campfire. When they came to Kansas at last, Laura saw land and looked like a sea of grass. Pa built a cabin, and in 1870, Laura's sister Carrie was born. Unknown to Pa, the cabin was on Indian land, and the Indians were angry. Since Pa had no claim to the land, the family moved back to Wisconsin. Mary helped Ma with chores and baby Carrie, and when school was started in town, Laura was afraid she couldn't play anymore. Soon she discovered she liked school, especially reading and writing. Pa expected to make a lot of money from his wheat crop, so he built a real house. But during the summer, grasshoppers invaded the prairie and ate the wheat. The family had to leave the house. More trouble followed. Laura's baby brother Freddie died soon after he was born. And since Pa couldn't find work, the family had to move many times. They were also cheered by the birth of Laura's sister Grace in 1877. One winter, Mary caught fever and lost her eyesight. From then on, Laura became Mary's eyes. Laura was learning to make pictures with words. In 1879, Pa found a job in Dakota Territory, working in a store for the railroad. The family lived in the surveyor's house, and during the long winter nights, Pa told stories. Laura never tired of Pa's wonderful stories. Laura was happy living near school. Even so, schools often closed because of deep snow. Laura studied at home. In 1880, blizzard after blizzard swept across the prairie. Town was running out of food, but Almanzo Wilder and Cap Garland made a dangerous trip to save the townsfolk from starving. Laura thought Almanzo was a real hero. Because she was a good student, Laura was asked to teach at a prairie school, but she was lonely from her family. But Almanzo surprised her by coming in a sleigh to take her home. She did that every weekend. Laura fell in love with Almanzo, whom she called Manly, and married him in 1885. A year later, their daughter was born. Laura named her Rose after the bright pink flowers that bloomed on the prairie. Laura and Manly were happy. Soon, though, the Wilders suffered hard times. Hail and drought ruined their wheat crops and made them poor. Their baby son died soon after he was born, and a serious illness left Manly weak. To help him recover, Laura and Manly moved to Minnesota, then to Florida. They traveled to Missouri, where they found lush fields and tree-covered mountains. Laura kept a notebook about the journey and sent a letter describing her trip to the newspaper. It was published, and Laura proudly wrote in the margin, "First I ever published." With $100 Laura earned, she and Manly made a down payment on a land near Mansfield she called Rocky Ridge Farm. Once the farm was well established, Laura decided to share her knowledge about farming in a column called As a Farm Woman Thinks. A few years later, Rose, her daughter, who was now a well-known writer, urged her mother to write for national magazines. But Laura wanted to do more than that. She wanted to write about her life as a pioneer girl. Her memories and Pa's stories were too good to be altogether lost. She wanted to do some writing that will count. She wrote and revised a story called Pioneer Girl many times. Finally, a book company wanted to publish it. In 1932, when Laura was 65, her first book, Little House in the Big Woods, was published. In 1949, Manly died at the age of 92. Although Laura was lonely without him, she kept busy answering fan letters and seeing visitors. Reflecting about her hard but rewarding life, she wrote, "It is still best to be honest and truthful, to make the most of what we have, to be happy with simple pleasures, and to be cheerful and have the courage when things go wrong. I wanted the children now to understand more about the beginnings of things, to know what is behind the things they see, what it is that made America